תשכח, תשכח, שכח ימיני, אם אשכחך ירושלים. תשכח, תשכח, שכח ימיני, We're learning this week should be the Refuat, Rabbi Yehuda, Tanya Batod Malgalit B'toch Kol Sha'ar Cholei Yisrael. As we enter into Parshat Vayishlach, Yaakov Avinu ends a long journey from Parshat Vayetze down to Haran to return back to the land of Israel. But before Yaakov returns, he fights against an angel. And as he fights against the angel, he changes, transforms Yaakov's name. So the pasuk where the angel changes Yaakov's name, it says, "Vayomer elav ma shimcha." An angel of God says to Yaakov, "What's your name?" "Vayomer Yaakov." My name is Yaakov. "Vayomer lo Yaakov Ya'amer od shimcha ki im Yisrael." From now on, your name will be Yisrael and not Yaakov. And the reason, ki sarita im Elokim v'im anashim v'tucha. The reason for the name of Yisrael is because you fought with God, you fought with people, and you were able to fight. And if we look back, Yaakov's first name is a little bit different than his second. When Yaakov is born, the Torah describes why his name is Yaakov. V'acharei chen yatsa achiv. And after Esav was born, the brother came out. V'yado ochezet be'akev Esav. And his hand is holding onto the heel of Esav. Vayikra shmo Yaakov. Yaakov's first name is not a name. He is holding on to the heel of Esav, which means that the name of Yaakov, within it has the name Akev, which is the name of Esav. The beginning of Yaakov's life is that he has no definition. He is holding on to Esav. He's holding on to the heel of Esav. He's behind. He's falling back. He's not on the top. He's not succeeding. So when the angel says, "What's your name?" and he says, Yaakov, that means that the name Yaakov means that he really has been holding on to Esav. And the name Yisrael is the exact opposite. The name Yisrael means you have fought and succeeded and you have become on top. So if at the beginning his name is Yaakov, that means he is holding back, he's behind, he's in a lower place. The name Yisrael means that you've succeeded, you've overcome, you've fought. And we would think that Yaakov's name changes. And since it changes, he's went from level 1 to level 2. But with these two names, the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph says, Kol hakoreh la'Avraham, Avram, over be'aseh. Avraham has two names, Avram and Avraham. But from the moment that his name changes, you are never ever allowed to call him Avram. The change means that he's went from A to B. He used to be Avram. He used to be level 1. Now he's transformed and he's Avraham. Same too as Sarai and Sarah. She used to be Sarai. Now she's Sarah. And she never ever will be called Sarai again. The only character in Tanakh that goes through a name change, but that doesn't let go of name 1 or name A, is Yaakov. The Gemara ends and says, Vayomer Elohim li Yisrael b'marot halayla, Vayomer Yaakov, Yaakov. The only character in Tanakh that changes his name, but leaves the same name from the past as part of his identity, is Yaakov. So we thought that Yaakov's name change was that he used to be holding the heel of Esav, and now he's talking to God, fighting with God. And so you would think he let go of Yaakov. Now he became Yisrael. But what made Yaakov unique was that it wasn't that he let go of Yaakov, is that he had two names forever. Yaakov and Yisrael. So the Sfat Emet in the year 1876 explains what do these two names really mean. Shtei Shemot Elu, the two names of Yaakov and Yisrael. Zachu Bahem B'nei Yisrael. B'nei Yisrael merit both these names. V'embchinat Haguf v'Haneshama. Says the Sfat Emet, Yaakov is the only character that contains within him two identities. He didn't let go of identity 1. He lived with the tension of both being Yaakov and Yisrael in one. Just like every one of us have a goof, which tells us to eat and tells us to sleep, and tells us to go up and fall, tells us to sleep. That's the goof, but the neshama inside is always in tension. And you would think that one has to win. You should either be goof or be neshama. But not think that they could go together. Not think that they could live in union. Says the Sfat Emet, Ki bekol ish Yisrael yesh machloket, tension, ben aguf and neshama. There's a tension between Yaakov, who's holding on to Esav, holding on to the asiyah, to the action, to the world, to the outside, and Yisrael, who's a godly, who's sitting in the Beit Midrash, who has an neshama. And that tension, you would think, should be solved as letting go of Yaakov. But what's so unique about Yaakov is that he is the only character in Tanakh that contains within one individual the ability to use the tension and not run away from it. So when we get into Parshat Vayishlach and Yaakov returns to the lands, he says if you want to build the land of Israel, you need to contain within you the tension. You need to be able to be goof and neshama. You need to be able to be part of the outside and the inside and recognize that that is your identity. You can't be one or the other. You can't be Yisrael or Yaakov. You need to be Yaakov and Yisrael. When I was making a big decision, when I was 18 years old, I went to Morivi Rabbi Zichrono Livracha, Rav Fruman. And I told him, Rebbe, I have option A and option B. And for 45 minutes, I cried to my Rebbe. And I said to him, this option has that advantage, and this option has that advantage. And after 45 minutes, Rav Fruman looked me straight in the eye and said, Yair, daven. And I didn't get a clear answer. I got the answer of tefillah, because essentially what tefillah means is, can you use the tension to recognize that you can't stop growing? When we look for solutions, we want A or B. We want Yaakov or Yisrael. But when my Rebbe said to me, daven, he said you have two options. And if I give you a clear answer, then you think the answer for tension is the lack of tension. His answer to me was, Yair, the tension is something that enables you to understand that you can't just make a decision to run to one place or the other. You have to understand that the tension decides for you to listen to the options and recognize that the greatest solution is, how can I make a conversation between two opposites? I think when we call ourselves Am Yisrael, we have to understand that the name Yisrael is not in contrast to Yaakov. The essence of Am Yisrael is that we know that when we look outside and we have a land, when Yaakov is preparing to return to Israel, he understands that he will have a great relationship with Hashem. And at the same time, he'll be in a land. He'll be holding on to Yisrael, Saritain Elokim. But that doesn't mean that you could abandon the name Yaakov. Our bracha to all of us this Shabbat is that when we look in a world of tension, we understand that it's not about solving the tension, but it's about letting the tension decide for us. That we need to not grow in order to solve, but we need to grow by listening to options and realizing the relationship between differences. That differences aren't just there to have one control the other, but to converse with each other and understand that the essence of Am Yisrael is, as we enter into Hanukkah, we light the candles in the entrance to the home between inside and outside. Outside is Esav, inside is Yisrael. And what Yaakov teaches in the Hanukkah candles is that only if we could light in between, if we could hear both voices and realize that they both need to help each other grow, only then can we get to the secret of Am Yisrael, which is not to run away from the tension, but to use the tension in order to constantly grow. Shabbat Shalom.